Hello, I am Christian Imes, and this is my tool of the week. That tool being my Nord Lead 2, and specifically this patch. This gnarly thing. And so right now I've just got the mod wheel controlling the filter. But that's pretty much how I like to use this thing. Is I like to get a sound and like get stuck on it and really mess with it. Now we're not going to be turning too many knobs with this thing because I've got everything set the way I want it to. And I'm going to change this. I'm in the middle of recording stuff, and so I'm going to change this again, but I want to finish tracking with this thing, but decided to do the tool of the week now because I'm probably going to switch after using this to something else for other reasons. But this thing's been getting it's the synth I've been recording with, the only synth this week. It's been giving me the business. A lot of monophonic-y stuff. In fact, and it's in legato mode at the moment, so there's stuff I was doing there. But it's a cool synthesizer. It can sound like if you don't want an analog thing, you can get a VA, a virtual analog. This thing does it. You can get this thing warm sounding, so you have these throbbing basses. Open up that filter slowly, it gives you that, and it's a grindy, grumbly sound, but it's a completely digital synth. So everything's digitable with it. And yeah, it's, it gets pretty gnarly. One of the other things that I like to do, is I like messing with things. I like being able to get this thing into an analog-y, moog-y kind of sound, kind of vibe, kind of, even sequential circuits kind of stuff. But anyway, I like to get these kind of vibes going, and then because it's digital, I can switch it to a polyphonic thing. So then I don't have a polyphonic moog, but then I can do this, and I can get my. Yeah, this thing's cool. Like, it has a stone pitch wheel, and the stone mod wheel. Sorry. The pitch bend is actually a wooden stick. So, and I don't know if you can see this, but if you rest your thumb there, it's perfect. Yeah, like, it's neat. Like, you can have a bunch of fun. And yeah, I've recorded a ridiculous amount of tracks with this thing, like from all kinds of layers and stuff like that. And then like a lot of droney stuff, like if you put this thing, yeah, it sounds like an engine or something taking off, some kind of spaceship, and like the way that it's grainy, like you can almost hear like the. Yeah, like you can really have fun with playing with around with the filter and stuff with this thing. Um, and we haven't changed presets or patches or anything. It's just messing with the one. I have other ones there, but like we're working on a specific album, and for several of the tracks, there's some motifs and themes and stuff and vibes that are getting there. But think, this is Spinal Tap, this is Cyberpunk, that kind of thing. So it's like where we're headed with these things. But yeah, it'll pretty much do whatever you want. This one's really neat. Like you've got four outputs this thing, so you can actually. It's like having four Nord leads. I like the original one. I like the 2 more than I like the 1 or the 3 or the 2X. I haven't tried the newest one. Like I think the A1 was the one. There was one in between before the current thing that I tried and stuff. Not as wild about that. Like actually got more into my Moog thing, but it's me. It's not the Nord. It's me. Love my 2 though. That synth, I plan for this thing to be buried with me. Like if I should die, I go in the casket. The synthesizer goes in the casket with me. He's getting this thing. It was a fun story too. I wanted one really, really bad, and I couldn't find one, and like the prices were absurd on eBay. And a fellow synth nerd decided to look one up, and he found one in like 2 hours away from us. We were in Asheville at the time, and so we drove to get it. I got a sweetheart deal. I'll tell you a story about that later, how I got that deal. I'm gonna make sure I run it by Janine and make sure that like I'm not giving out any information, because the guy wanted cash. It had to be cash, and it wasn't stolen. But there was a divorce going on, and I'm gonna leave it at that. So, and yeah, on that bombshell, I think this is gonna be it for this. Like, it's like I'm really in the middle of recording it, and then I realized like, oh, I haven't done my tool of the week video to show what I was using this week. Normally, I do these a couple of days before I put them out, but like I've been recording so much stuff that like it literally slipped my mind. So this is why this is a little haphazard today, and I'm not really in demo mode for this. Like I've been messing with the parts that I've been messing with, but I love this synthesizer. Um, I'd pick it up and show it to you, but you can look at it in all its glory. It's brilliant. Everything still works. Um, I don't really know which like I feel like if you know what a Nord Lead 2 is, and you know how awesome they are, like I'm preaching to the converted, and if you don't like them, well then you're just wrong. You can fight me in the comments. I really don't care. I will have that fight. Uh, yeah, you can't get me to get rid of you. From my cold, dead hands, you will pry this Nord Lead 2 for me. But I mean, it's like, it's, you know, what's not to love about that? And then, like, like inside of me's early, intro part. What's not to like about that? Like you can't not love that, and it does other stuff too. It's really good at pads. Not so much good at like piano sounds, or it's a synthesizer. It's meant to sound like a synthesizer, not like a violin. Like, how good's the piano sound? Who cares? It's shitty. Like, you don't want that. That's not why you got that. Like, load umpteen VSTs that are good at doing that sample-based stuff. If you want it to sound like a real grand or whatever, sample-based stuff. That's the way to go. Software. Don't even buy a keyboard. Like, buy a controller. Do that. Back in the day, like I would have told you, go get a K2000, the Kurzweil, or, you know, some generic people would say a Korg Triton. But like I always thought the Kurzweil stuff had a little bit more character to the sounds. I don't know. They both like sounded convincing in a mix. You get a piano or violin sound in a mix and stuff. Reason is another one. Reason, not even the newest Reason either. Like Reason 4, the old one on PowerPC or XP. That the sampler in there with the violins, like it's awesome. It's great. In fact, it is the synth I used on Rage for the violins in there. It was just Reason 4 on a G4 iMac. It was running from a G4 iMac that I was playing it from, running that from an Alpha Audio interface into a Focusrite interface on my G5 that I was recording it to. That's how that happened. And then like I ended up moving the tracks over from Logic 9 to Logic 10, going to the Intel thing, doing that whole switch and stuff. But my faithful Nord lead, she went everywhere with me. Yeah, I went to go visit my cousin too. Like I even brought it with me. Like it's just, I got a bag for it. In fact, I bought the bag for this thing 6 months before I got the keyboard. I knew I was gonna find that synth, so better have the case. And so it worked out perfectly. Again, there's a story behind this. I'm gonna run this by Janine. I'll even post it. Like it might even just be its own little short. The video about the story behind the Nord lead, the deets. So, yeah, this is, I mean, it's pretty much it. It does a whole bunch of stuff. There's probably, like, I'm not going to turn into a review channel, because, like, that's not what I do. I talk about the gear I like that I actually use. And most of it is stuff that I own. In fact, all of the gear that I've talked about is stuff that I've owned. It's been mine. But, like, I might be using something I rented or borrowed. None of this stuff is rented or borrowed. But that might be the case in the case. I'm just keeping this, the goal and the mission is to keep it authentic, to keep it real, not what I potentially gonna do, what I could do, what I plan to do. No, this is what I've actually been doing. So when you hear new animal stuff, you will hear this patch. You'll hear that thing in some capacity. Maybe not as far as but like yeah, you'll hear that thing in stuff, and you'll hear sounds that I didn't demo here too from that thing and stuff. And I'll be sure to be pointing it out because I plan to do plans to be deep dive videos going forward on lots of songs, all of the songs eventually, and some other stuff like that that's planned. So we'll get into the weeds and the nuts and bolts in other videos. But this is the format here. This is the tool that I was using this week for most of the synth stuff. It's probably going to get a fair amount of use this week too. But we're kind of it's looking like I'm going to need to bring some other stuff in the mix this week. I'm not sure. I won't tell you exactly because I don't know because we just started this week. It's yeah, so I'm gonna see. Like I could say that, and like there's also times too. There's been a couple of these where I thought it was gonna be this instrument or this pedal or this thing, and I ended up not using it. I ended up using something else. So it's like, it's kind of, it makes it fun too, because it's like, well then I don't have to think about what I'm gonna use. It's just, what did I actually use? Oh yeah, that. Okay, well we're talking about this, and sometimes it's not as exciting. I mean, like, it just is what it is. It's like, I keep saying that one day, the tool of the week is going to be this SM58. because it's like when I'm doing vocals, I tend to do vocals for more than one song. Um, like it's like I'll get 6 to 10 songs together to sing the parts through and get the parts recorded and stuff. So that way, it's a little bit different. It's working a little bit different here now because I've got um, several different vocal chains that are going on depending on the songs, depending on the styles. It's a similar thing with the synth stuff too, but like we're in, like I said, this is Cyberpunk 3000, something like that. So it's we're definitely getting deeper in the weeds and getting closer to something that I'll be happy to let people hear. But I'm not rushing anything, and I'm just going at the rate that it's there. There's a lot of songs to go through. There's a lot of material. Every time I think I'm done with the batch, and then I can because basically what I'll typically like to do is write anywhere for a specific album. I like to write anywhere from 30 to 40 songs for that album, and then weed it down to the best 10 or so from there. But what tends to happen is I start out and I say I'm gonna write 40, and then I get to 50, and then I'm like, okay, well we'll stop at 51, and then we'll stop at 60, and then we get to 80 something songs, and that's about where I really stop. We're getting close to that now and stuff, but it's like I'll be working on something and we're recording a part, I'm recording a part, I get this part done, I get this part, and then another thing pops up into my head. And it could be from the most random thing. It could be from me stemming a beat on my legs or something, because I do that a lot. But either way, anything can trigger. It's like I said, it's like you have to be like a Minuteman in the Revolutionary War. You have to be ready at any minute to record a song because it could happen. A part could happen, and that part can trigger the thing that triggers the masterpiece. I mean, there's some songs I wouldn't have got without a little snippet, a germ of an idea from somewhere or something else that I heard. Yeah, there's a song called Victim that basically like got triggered from a car door slamming and a bag of ruffled potato chips was stuck in, and it made a weird metally, because those ruffled bags are kind of like that. It just made a weird kind of sound and a noise, and the closest approximation I got to it is in that song. So when you listen to the song, it's like there's a thing that happens. That's kind of what I heard that made me triggered the whole idea. Like it literally triggered the beat, this driving thing, because it's like it's meant to be like something abrupt shutting or stopping, and it's kind of where that came from. But and like Janine's nodding her head, yeah, like she hears it, she gets it, because she knows the song. So she's the person holding the camera for me. Anyway, so basically we've recorded a lot of stuff. Like it can do, it can sound like all the great analog synths that you want it to sound like. It's a knob. There's plenty of knobs. You've got, there's almost a knob per function and stuff like that. There's some multis and stuff, some buttons and stuff. You can change LFOs. You've got control of both your oscillators here. Your amplifier, filter controls are really well laid out. Everything's really, like, if you can read the Synthesizer cookbook, like, it's really not, there's some good resources. Mark Doty he's got some really good video resources and stuff. He used to work with the Moog Foundation, the Bob Moog Foundation. And I think he's doing his own. I think he's still doing stuff on YouTube. But yeah, a buddy of mine that I was 16. I joined an electronic rock band, and like that buddy popped my synthesizer cherry there, and so I learned a lot from him, and then just kind of took it and picked up other things from the way. But that's one of the Mark Doty. He's one of the coolest resources I've seen on there, and like it's really good. Like it gives you stuff you can try. There's tons of people. I'm sure he's not the only one. I'm sure there's lots of synthesizer nerds that will teach you the ways of the Force. I am just a horrible teacher. Like I grok this stuff in an internal kind of way, so I just do it. This stuff just comes naturally to me. Like I figure things out really quickly. And I'm just like, just do it. Like I'm horrible at teach. I've tried to teach past girlfriends, all kinds of friends and stuff, how to play guitar and how to play stuff. It never goes well. They never feel like they learn anything. Like, and it's like, I just move your hand like this. You do this. You just do this. And like, I honestly thought everybody was like me, like that. I thought everybody could do that stuff, so I didn't really think it was anything to write home about. And I still have my days where I wonder if it really is. Like, it's like, I'm good at this weird shit with my hands. But then, like, if you catch me with a fork and knife, I have problems. I don't know. But, excuse me. And it's really dry. We need to fill the humidifiers. That's another thing, too. Spartanburg. Really dry here in comparison to Asheville, North Carolina. I've never had to run humidifiers in the house throughout the year when no one's sick. I'm not even sick. It's just I'm talking and it gets dry, and my humidifier can see little lights red. So it's time to fill that. However, I digress from my point completely. I'm sorry. Yeah, but anyway, Nordlead 2, they're awesome. There are tons of people online on YouTube, and probably Twitter. I don't really know. Like, mostly I'm looking at anime and car crap on Twitter, to be perfectly honest, and AI stuff and anything with UAPs. Anything with UAPs that comes across the radar, yeah, that's anything else, no, that's just garbage. So, yeah, there's lots of videos I've seen. I can't remember the name of it, but there is a good. But to where to start is Vintage Synth Explorer. Very good resource there. You can look up the Nordlead. You can find out all of the myriad of people who've used it on records and recordings. Prodigy, Nine Inch Nails, Depeche Mode. You name them, they probably use it. And Depeche Mode used everything. So it's like you could probably, like, Martin Gore is I love that monster. Name a synthesizer, Martin Gore probably has it. It's like I watched a video of him talking about getting on eBay and, like, just going to town, like, finding all this stuff he couldn't find in stores and you could just order it. It's like, man, if I had that bank account to be able to do that, the stuff I would buy from eBay, oh boy, I would have a Fizmo by now. Insonic Fizmo for the win. Yes, I've never played it. It just, I want to so bad. I loved my VFX SD. Really want the Fizmo. It's like, and the fact that I think it was the synth that broke the company. Like, I think the company ended after that because it was just not successful. But, like, transwave synthesis. Who doesn't want that? I wanted that. Apparently nobody else at the time. And I was too small. I think I was like 2 or some shit when that came out. Or I was really little. Like, I wasn't thinking about synthesizers. It was He-Man, Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, Dragon Ball, Pokemon. It ended up, yeah, I tagged out at Digimon. It was like, no, I'm not doing this. Anyway, this has been my tool of the week. This is my Nordlead 2. I'm going to get out of the way just so she can show it, like get closer to it, just like zoom in on it, like love on it. Like, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's good. I know, I really like the thing. I love this thing so much. I will never get rid of it. Never, ever. Never, ever. Never, ever get rid of it. No. Bye. See you next. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Animalsindenial.com. Go there. You could. Yeah. Animalsindenial.com. go there. You can subscribe to all of our stuff. You can find me. Sign up for our newsletter. There's goodies there. There is a awesome track that you will get for free. Just with your put the email in, you get the track. It happens. And you'll get announcements for other stuff too. There are a lot of cool stuff. If you into following an indie band that's doing things, follow us, because there's lots of content and stuff. And I'm not always asking you. I will never always ask you for money. No, I'm rather into you sharing stuff that's cool, that I like, because I think it's cool, and I'm thinking there's other people out there like me that's gonna also think this is cool. So for cool shit, go to animalsindenial.com, and you will hear some awesome music, see some cool pictures. There's cool videos. There's more of that stuff coming. There's more of all of this stuff coming. But go there, animalsindenial.com, and you'll get it all. All right, and that's it. See ya.